Welcome back to Orion Talk Radio. My name is Derek Bros. I'm excited now to bring on my next guest, Kyle Coplen. He's the founder of the Armed Citizen Project. How are you doing, man?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
It's great to talk to you, man. I've just been keeping up with things going on in your world lately, and keeping up with the protests that happened this past week, so I figured it'd be a good time to talk to you and kind of pick your brain a little bit. And so let's introduce you to the audience today, man. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got started with the Armed Citizens Project.
Sure. So in January of this year, I was starting my last semester of grad school at University of Houston for public administration. So I've always really been interested in policy analysis and stuff like that. So in January, I visited a home of this World War II vet named Albert Wood. His home was brutally vandalized while he was out. This is a 93-year-old man with 2 Purple Hearts, and some criminals just broke in and really destroyed his home. And I was part of the community effort that volunteered to fix it up. And when I was at his house looking at what those punks had done, I started thinking what we as society could do to deter home invasion crimes. And I started thinking about private solutions to the public problem of crime, and I had the idea to create the opposite of gun-free zones, which is gun-rich zones. So what the Armed Citizen Project does is 2 things. We train and arm single women, single mothers in high-crime areas, but the bigger thing we do is that we arm entire neighborhoods. Right now we're arming a neighborhood in Oak Forest. It's about 400 houses. We've offered everyone that lives in that neighborhood if they can pass a background check, and if they can pass our training course, we'll give them a pump-action shotgun free of charge. And it's our hypothesis that criminals have no intention of dying in your hallway. We think society should use their fear to deter crime.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really revolutionary idea, just to think that, oh, wow, we could take care of ourselves. And so you did this for the first time a couple weeks ago, correct, in the Oak Forest neighborhood here in Houston?
Yeah, we started arming that neighborhood in Oak Forest, I think, May 6th. Every other weekend, we train and arm 10 people in that neighborhood, and once we get a quarter of that neighborhood armed, we're going to put up signage letting criminals know they're more likely to get shot if they commit a home invasion crime in that area. We're going to see what the deterrent effects of that are.
Nice. And so obviously you said this instance of seeing violence in the community got you thinking, like you said, private solution to a public problem. Have your politics shaped this idea? I mean, are you more interested in private defense than you would be, say, to call the cops?
Well, I mean, basically, there's a lot of stuff that people can do. The cops are there for a reason, and so, certainly call the cops. But, I mean, it's going to take 15, 20 minutes. You're on your own. You've got to depend on yourself for in the moment personal defense. Oftentimes, police, especially here in Houston, the response time is not that great, and pretty much they come to fill out a report. And so people need to realize, man, that their own safety, that's on you. That's not something that you can count on some government official or some officer to ensure that for you. So everyone needs to make sure that they're looking out for themselves and their family.
Exactly. And so what's been the response to arming this neighborhood?
It's been overwhelmingly positive. A lot of people have been really supportive and really happy that we've come into their neighborhood to do this. The only people that really have come out against what we're doing are on the extreme fringe of the anti-gun left. And I say that because, you hear like the Piers Morgans of the world and people like that often like to say that they support the Second Amendment and right to bear arms. They're just against, high-capacity mags and AR-15s or whatever. Well, I don't believe them, and it's proven to be true because we're doing background checks, we're doing training, we're giving out defensive shotguns, and these people are still, those types of people are still coming out against us. And it shows them for who they really are, that they truly are people that do not want private firearm ownership, period, end of story.
Exactly. I mean, it does seem to be obvious that some people do have an agenda where they're misinformed on how guns keep communities safe, and exaggerated numbers of gun violence. Now, specifically with the local politicians, I saw a quote from City Councilwoman Ellen Cohen and, of course, Sheila Jackson Lee. How did they respond to this operation?
Well, they don't like it, but they're pretty left-leaning politicians that kind of angle for the donations from the Brady campaign, groups like that. Sheila Jackson Lee, I'm not. You can never really decide what she's against because if there's an opportunity to get in front of a camera, she'll say whatever. I mean, she really is a publicity hound. But the thing is, the whole reason we did the protest for Sheila Jackson Lee and the whole reason why I want to take part in that moving forward is you have all these politicians that come out and they make these scurrilous attacks on the Second Amendment and on gun owners, and they always follow it up with, I believe in the Second Amendment, I believe in the right of self-defense. And it's simply not true. But they say that because they know that the backlash, if they don't follow it up with that caveat, it can be pretty bad. A lot of people really support their Second Amendment rights. So we're not playing that game anymore. If someone runs down the Second Amendment, runs down gun owners, I could care less what caveat they throw in afterwards to try to throw out their gun ownership bona fides. They've shown who they are, and they need to hear from the people. And the fact that they feel they need to throw that out, those little caveats, shows that they really are afraid from hearing from the people. So that was the whole idea behind the Sheila Jackson Lee protest, was she came out against the Second Amendment, essentially. And there's no way she can walk that back, and we wanted people to know.
Did she show up at all?
No, man. I guess she's got a bad history of putting out incorrect times for press conferences on purpose, so that way there won't be any opposition. So she was in D.C. I'm fully confident had she been in Houston, she would have shown up because we had a couple news crews show up. So this is a woman who has bullied her way up to the front of funerals for people she doesn't even know to talk about legislation she's pushing. I mean, when I say that she'll come out and wherever there's a camera, I'm not lying, dude. She is ridiculous. She is the worst. In my opinion, she's the worst person in Congress.
No, I don't disagree with you, man. Actually, about a year ago, myself and other members of the Houston Freethinkers and the Harris County Criminal Lawyers Association, it was our first sort of official run-in with her when she tried to bring the TSA on the Houston Metro. She partnered up with the Department of Homeland Security and the federal government, HPD, and Harris County to bring the TSA on the Houston Metro, and they held a press conference, and yeah, we had our own little run-ins with them, to say the least.
Yeah, I remember that. So if you're going to be a bad actor on a bus, your time will be short-lived. I don't know what that meant. Yeah, I remember that situation exactly. So it's, I'm not just saying she's terrible because she's an idiot that doesn't understand the Constitution and she's an embarrassment to the city of Houston. I'm saying she's terrible also because of the legislation she supports and her mentality. I mean, she's a complete embracer of nanny state type government, and she's a total apologist for the criminal element. I mean, a couple months ago she said on the House floor, don't blame the gangbanger for the crime because they've got guns that are trafficked. Pretty much blame the gun, don't blame the criminal. And that's absolutely insane that we have an elected representative representing the great city of Houston on the House floor just sounding like an idiot. So, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
Well, she's what we got for now, but I appreciate you going out there and pushing up against her a little bit, and hopefully because I'm imagining you're going to continue doing these operations. Is that correct?
Well, I've actually that protest that we had kind of spawned the creation of a new group because we at the Armed Citizen Project, we're focused on training and arming, creating new responsible gun owners. We don't have time to coordinate protests and all that, as fun as they were. But one of the guys at the protest created a group called Gun Owners Demand Inaction. Kind of as a response to Mom's Demand Action, the Bloomberg front group that's pushing increased gun control. And as I understand it, he's gonna be taking on a lead and coordinating those types of protests whenever a local politician runs down the Second Amendment and runs down gun owners. So I'm really excited about helping them out and pushing it whenever they schedule a protest. It's something that we want to keep doing. It's just we don't have the time, and fortunately, a group was created out of that protest we had the other day. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that group does.
Definitely. We're going to go to a quick break and get back with you just for a couple more questions, Kyle. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Conscious Resistance on Orion Talk Radio. Welcome back to The Conscious Resistance on Orion Talk Radio. My name is Derek Bros. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm talking with Kyle Coplen of the Armed Citizens Project. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good still.
Cool, man. Glad to have you on for just a couple more minutes. I just wanted to get a couple more questions before we let you go and give everybody a chance to find more information. And I've been seeing the Facebook page for Armed Citizen Project has been exploding. Lots of people are asking when Armed Citizen Project is coming to their community. I mean, how does it feel? Did you expect such a big response?
I want to say no, but I kind of did. You know, it's kind of a revolutionary idea. I know I'm not the first person to think of it, but I'm the first person to implement. And I knew that it was something that, you know, in the wake of Newtown, with all the politicians coming out and really attacking the Second Amendment rights, I knew it was something that people would seize onto and an idea that people would love. And that's turned out to be the case. And we've got a lot of folks that are eager to help, and a lot of folks that want to bring it to their community, and we're interested in expanding, you know, wherever we can find the manpower to do it. We don't think that this is just a solution for, you know, Houston. We think this is a good fit for the country. We're teaching responsible gun ownership. We're creating new responsible gun owners, and we're deterring crime. So, I mean, I'm going to take this thing to even my hometown in Rochester, Indiana, of 8,500 people. I mean, we're going to go wherever we can find people to take this because it's a great program.
Yeah, before you came on, I was discussing a neighborhood, a community in Milwaukee, Oregon, that is actually they're not giving away guns, but they're resorting to community defense, which is, I would say, is a sign of the times where more people are looking to communities for the answers and recognizing that we don't need to wait for the government. The citizens of Milwaukee, Oregon, were simply just going up and putting around, like you'd spoken, yard signs and flyers throughout the neighborhood that said, "This is a Glock block. We don't call 911." Just to let the criminals out there, or anybody who would think of taking an unnecessary chance to risk their own life for whatever it may be, to recognize that, hey, this community's protected. We're not going to wait around for the cops, so you might want to try somewhere else.
Yeah, we want criminals, whenever possible, to look at committing a home invasion with the same fear they would look at playing a game of Russian roulette. You know, and by increasing the chances that they're going to get blown away if they kick in a door, we should see a deterrent effect, and that's what we're looking for. I just graduated with my master's in public administration, so I'm going to be completing a multi-year, multi-city study on the results, and we'll see if more guns, less crime holds true. I imagine it will.
Exactly, man. One more question. I want to know, where do you personally see this fitting in with the scheme of things across the country? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk of gun legislation over the past couple of years, but specifically the past 6 months, this whole year has had a big focus on that. Where do you see this playing into the fact that communities want to stand up, communities want to be safe? A lot of us have been fed this fallacy that without the police protection or without government protection, communities will just be given to violence, that criminals will take over and nobody will stand up for themselves. I mean, do you think this is a sign of the times that we're going to see more of this? We're going to see other organizations such as the Armed Citizen Project pop up? And also, to add to that, why is it that some of the politicians seem to be afraid of communities banding together?
Sure. So, yeah, I do think you're going to see more of what we're doing, or at least you're going to see us grow to be very large. We're an already existing organization. We've seen a lot of people reach out to us wanting to take part of our organization and bring it into their area. And it's all about control, man. I mean, the government at all levels, wants control. I mean, that's why we have a tax code the size of the tax code that we have. That's why we have a lot of the things, is because they want to control the public. And so in making it to where the public thinks that for their personal safety, the only place they can go to is the government, that's absolute total control. And so you're going to see a lot more of this, I think. And one of the big things is the anti-gun establishment really pokes the bear in this whole post-Newtown gun control push, and you're seeing a lot of folks actively push back, and I expect that to continue. They really went too far, and unfortunately, one of the big things with gun rights is a lot of folks that aren't willing to stand up for their first, fourth, or Fifth Amendment rights are more than willing to stand up for their second. I wish that people had the same reverence for all the other amendments as they did their second, but when politicians come out and they attack the Second Amendment, I don't think they were expecting the backlash that they did, and that's because the Second Amendment, it's a tangible right. The gun is something you keep next to your bed. It's something you keep in your closet. So when the government's talking about taking it, all of a sudden that's something that people can picture as a right that's being taken away. And that's one thing that we're doing. We're training and arming folks with a gateway gun, and they're getting this gun. They're having a shotgun now, and all of a sudden they're a gun owner. They're a new responsible gun owner. They say, hey, I feel safe at home. Now I want to feel safe in public. We have people that we've trained and armed with a shotgun that have gone out, bought a handgun, signed up for a CHL class, joined the NRA. So we're creating that next group of firearm advocates. And I think that's one of the most important things that we're doing is facilitating the whole process and creating new gun owners, getting rid of the mystique of guns, and creating new Second Amendment advocates.
And that's great work, man. I'm glad you guys are out there doing it. Let everybody know where they can find more about the Armed Citizen Project.
Sure, yeah. We have a website, armedcitizenproject.org, and we're a nonprofit completely funded by private donations, so if anybody's interested in helping out. Also, if anybody in Houston, we're having a fundraiser July 13th at Concert Pub North. You can check us out on Facebook, also, Armed Citizen Project. And we also take firearm donations. If anybody has a pump-action shotgun, we can arm someone with it. If you have something else, like an old 30-30, we can liquidate it and turn it into pumps. I call it our redistribution of firepower. It's Biden's love of shotguns with Obama's love of redistribution. Therefore, it transcends politics.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle, for taking some time to talk to us.
Thanks a lot, Derek.
Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
You too.